Hi dears, welcome to today's session on Teaching Aptitude Test 1. This mock test 1 will cover all units in Teaching Aptitude syllabus which are given in NCET 2026. This mock test will give confidence and strength before your final examination. So with your permission, I would like to start mock test 1 with your permission. Thank you. Here is the first question. The landmark 1993 report title Learning Without Boredom fundamentally shaped modern education curriculum designed by advocating against rote memorization and heavy school bags. Which committee recommended this report? Which committee produced this report? So here is the options. Kotari Commission, Ashpal Committee, Ramamurthy Review Committee, and Justice Verma Commission. So here is the answer. Learning without boredom. So that report is given by the Ashpal Committee in the year 1993. Headed by Professor Ashpal, this committee investigated the problem of academic boredom on students. Its recommendation laid the philosophical groundwork for National Curriculum Framework 2005, emphasizing conceptual understanding over rote learning. Question number 2. In Benjamin Bloom's taxonomy of educational objective, a teacher evaluating a student's willingness to listen to teachers. Listen to teachers, willing to listen to the others, participate in group discussion, and demonstrate empathy is assessing A. Cognitive domain, B. Psychomotor, C. Affective, D. Metacognitive. So here is the answer is about affective domain. Bloom's taxonomy divides learning into three domains: cognitive, psychomotor, and affective domain. So here the cognitive domain deals with intellect and knowledge. Psychomotor domain intellect, physical skills. Affective domain deals with emotions, values, attitude, and motivations. Question number 3. When introducing a concept of adjectives in language class, a teacher provides several examples of descriptive sentences on board and asks the student to figure out the grammar rule themselves. This pedagogical approach is known as A. Deductive, B. Inductive, C. Translation, D. Rote method. So here, what is that? Adjective in language class. The teacher provided several examples of descriptive sentences on board. Ask the student to figure out the grammar rules themselves. Grammar rules. So that is about option B, inductive method. What is inductive? The inductive method moving from specific to general, specific example to a general example, specific example to general rules is a constructive approach. It is generally far more effective for long term retention than the deductive method, where the teacher simply gives the rule first, provide examples later. Rule first, example later. Question number 5, question number 4 is missing. A major shift in the National Education Policy NEP 2020 is a recommendation to move from summative assessment to formative assessment. Which of the following is an example of formative assessment? A. The final board examination at the end of grade 10. B. A standardized national entrance test like the NCET. C. The teacher using quick ticket quiz at the end of 40-minute class to see if students understand the day's topic. D. An annual physical fitness test. So here, what is that? Summative to formative. So example of formative assessment. That is answer is C. A teacher using a quick exit ticket quiz at the end of a 40-minute class, at the end of the class, to see if the students are understanding or not understanding that day topic. Formative assessment is an ongoing diagnostic tool used during the learning process. It provides immediate feedback to both the teacher and the student, allowing for quick adjustment in instruction. 6.1. If a teacher wants to assess a student's ability to perform a complex and real-world task, such as setting up microscope, conducting debate, which assessment tool is most appropriate to ensure objective grading? A. True first questionnaire. B. A detailed grading rubric. C. A norm reference percentile rank. D. A summative multiple choice test. So here is the answer, that is option B. A detailed grading rubric. A rubric explicitly lists the criteria for a piece of work and describes varying levels of quality for each criterion. It is essential for objectively assessing performance based tasks and subjective project. 7th one. Jacob Kounin identified the ripple effect as a key concept in a classroom management. This effect occurs when one student's high grade motivate the rest of the class. A teacher reprimand or correction of one student's misbehavior influence the behavior of other students witnessing it. A difficult concept causes widespread confusion. A student passes information sequentially from the front row to the back. So here is the answer. What is that? Jacob Kounin identified ripple effect. What is ripple effect? Ripple effect concept in classroom management. When this effect is occur, that is, a teacher reprimand or correction of one student's misbehavior influence the behavior of other students witnessing it. So that is the big. How a teacher handles a single disruption sends a clear message to the entire classroom. A fine, fair, clear correction creates a positive ripple effect, whereas a holistic or orally aggressive reaction creates negative climate. So here, that is about ripple means how a teacher handles single disruption sends a clear message to the entire classroom. Yeah, it one. Rather than punishing a student, who vandalize a desk by suspending them. A teacher requires the student to stay after school, clean the desk, and help the janitorial staff for an hour. This classroom management is based on that is restorative practice, corporal punishment, negative reinforcements, extinction. So that is about restorative practices, logical consequence. Restorative practices focus on repairing the harm done rather than merely inflicting suffering. A logical consequence is directly related to the misbehavior, helping the student take responsibility and make amends. When teachers systematically studies a specific problem within their own classroom, example, why are my students struggling with fractions? To improve their own teaching method, they are engaging in basic scientific research, action research, summative research, standardized test. So that is in classroom. So that is about action research. What is that? Action research. Action research is conducted by practitioners such as teachers to solve immediate localized problems in their specific education setting. It is a critical component of a teacher's continuous professional development. 10th one. Under the Right to Education Act 2009, community participation is mandated through the formation of school management committees such as SMCS. What percentage of an SMC must consist of parents or guardians? 25, 33, 50, 75. So your answer is 75%. To ensure high accountability and community ownership of local school, the RTE Act requires that three-fourths, that means 75% of the SMC members to be parents or guardians of the children studying in that school. 11th one. The Rights of Persons with Disabilities, RPWD 2016, 2016 expanded the definition of disabilities. Which of the following is recognized as a specific neurodevelopmental condition characterized by challenges with social communication and restricted repetitive behaviors? Dyspraxia, autism spectrum disorder, cerebral palsy, multiple sclerosis. So your answer is about autism spectrum disorder. ASD is a spectrum condition. In an inclusive classroom, teacher must provide appropriate accommodation for students with ASD, such as predictable routines and sensory-friendly environments. 12th one. NEP 2020 proposes the establishment of parag. What is the primary function of this new body? To print and distribute textbooks globally. B. To provide direct financial scholarship to university students. C. To act as National Assessment Center, setting norms, standards, and guidelines for student assessment and evaluation across all recognized school boards. To build new physical schools in rural areas. So here is the answer is C. to act as a national assessment center, setting norms, standards, and guidelines for student assessment and evaluation across all recognized school boards. Parak aims to end the disparity between different state national boards, shifting the entire assessment culture away from rote memorization and towards competency based evaluation. 13th one, in mathematics pedagogy, the ancient Indian text Lilavati, a comprehensive treatise on arithmetic, algebra, and geometry, was authored by which renowned mathematician Aryabhatta, Brahmagupta, Bhaskara to Srinivasa Ramanujan. So your answer is that is about Bhaskara too. Bhaskaracharya, written in 1150 CE, Lilavati is the first volume of Bhaskara II's main work. Siddhanta Shiromani is the main work. It is famous for presenting complex mathematical problems in the form of poetic verses addressed to a woman named Lilavati. 14th one. In the pedagogy of social sciences, teaching history through primary sources involves having students analyze a modern historian's textbook summarizing the 19th century, b. original documents, letters, artifacts, photographs created during the actual time period being studied, a Wikipedia article about historical event, a historical fiction novel. So here is the answer is original documents, letters, artifacts, or photographs created during the actual time period being studied. Using primary sources requires students to think like historians instead of pursuing a textbook's interpretation. They must critically analyze the original evidence to draw their own conclusion. 15th one. The SAMR SAMR model is used to evaluate the integration of ICT, information and communication technology, in education. The highest level of this model, where technology allows for the creation of new tasks that were previously inconceivable, is called a substitution, augmentation, modification, redefinition. So your answer is redefinition. What is that? Redefinition. Substitution is simply replacing physical textbook with a PDF. Redefinition is using technology to transform learning entirely, such as students collaborating with scientists in Arctica via live video link to analyze real time climate data. 16th one. Teachers utilizing digital resources must be aware of OER. What does this stand for? OER, online examination rule, open education resources, official electronic registry, optical evaluation reader. So here is the answer, open educational resource. OER, teaching, learning, research materials in any medium that reside in the public domain or have been released under an open license like Creative Commons that permits no cost access, use, adoption and redistribution. 17th one. Phishing is a critical cybersecurity threat that students and teachers must be educated about it. About it involves a stealing physical hardware from computer lab, guessing student password through trial and error, sending fraudulent email disguised as trustworthy source to trick users into revealing sensitive information like login credentials, using someone else's Wi-Fi network without their permission. So here is the answer, that is about C. Sending fraudulent emails disguised as a trustworthy source to trick users into revealing sensitive information like login credentials. Phishing is a form of social engineering, educating learners on cyber ethics and digital safety. Involves teaching them how to recognize and avoid these deceptive tactics. 18th one. Sri Aurobindo's philosophy of integral education differs from traditional education primarily because it seeks to A. Focus exclusively on rigorous physical training. B. Train only the intellect to pass examinations. C. Harmoniously develop the physical, vital, mental, psychic, and spiritual dimensions of the human being. D. Enforce a singular religious dogma in school. D. Enforce singular religious dogma in school. So sorry. So answer is about C. What is that? Harmoniously develop the physical, vital, mental, psyche, and spiritual dimensions of the human being. Aurobindo believed that focusing solely on the mind ignores the total ability of human potential. Education must integrate all aspects of a person to help them evolve into a higher state of consciousness. 19th one. Jiddu Krishnamurti strongly opposed the use of competition and comparison. Example, ranking students in education because he believed that it takes up too much of the teacher's time. B. It breeds fear, envy, conflict, and destroying the student's natural love for learning and discovery. C. It makes the exams too easy to pass. D. It causes physical fatigue. So your answer is it breeds fear, envy, and conflict, destroying the student's natural love for learning and discovery. Krishnamurti viewed competition as a form of psychological violence. He argued that when a student is compared to the another, they must act out of fear or desire for a status rather than a genuine intrinsic passion for the subject itself. 20. Which pioneering social reformer and educator famously used Marathi poetry such as Kavya Phule to argue marginalized community to go get education. Go get education as a weapon to dismantle the caste system and patriarchy. Mahatma Gandhi, Rabindranath Tagore, Savitri Bai Phule, Swami Vivekananda. So your answer is Savitri Bai Phule, along with her husband Jyoti Rao, opened the first school for girls in India. She viewed education not just as a literacy but as the ultimate tool for social justice, human dignity, and liberation of oppressed classes. 25. The core pedagogical concept of Mahatma Gandhi's Naithalim basic education is that A. Education must be delivered entirely in English. B. Knowledge should be acquired through proactive manual craft, bridging the gap between intellectual and physical labor. Schools should be funded strictly by foreign investment. Students should be isolated in ashramas away from society. So your answer is B. Knowledge should be acquired through proactive manual craft, bridging the gap between intellectual and physical labor. Gandhi believed that manual labor was dignified. By learning through a craft like spinning or agriculture, students develop self reliance, practice skills, and character, making education deeply relevant to rural Indian life. 22nd, according to National Curriculum Framework for School Education NCFSE 2023, there is a strong mandate to remove hard separation. This specifically means eliminating rigid boundaries between primary and secondary school buildings, formative and assessment methods, C. Art and science, curricular and extracurricular activities, vocational and academic streams, D. Public and private schooling system. So here is the answer. Art, C. Arts and sciences, curricular and extracurricular activities, vocational and academic streams. So here, according to NEP 2020, the NCFSC promotes multidisciplinary approach. School students must have the flexibility to study physics alongside music, removing the outdated rigid syllabus of traditional educational streams. 23rd. Under the Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan, the Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalaya KGBV scheme provides specific support to A. Elite urban students pursuing STEM careers, B. Residential education for girls belonging to the disadvantaged group SC, ST, OBC, minority and BPL in educationally backward blocks, C. Scholarship for students to study abroad, funding for university level research. So here is the answer is about B. Residential education for girls belonging to disadvantaged groups such as SC, ST, OBC, minority and BPL in educational backward classes. KGBVs are the KGBVs are the crucial intervention to address gender disparity in rural and marginal areas. By providing safe residential schooling, the scheme significantly reduced the dropout rate of adolescent girls. Thank you.